great because way back in 2014 my first shot was here, and in 2016 my second shot was also selected here. I couldn't come then, but it's great to finally come back here. So come here with a feature film. Yeah, and I've been here for feature film development as well with Film Independent for the program called Global Media Makers, and they all will be coming for the screening tomorrow. So it feels great, yeah. It was not an easy film to shoot because my film takes place during monsoon floods. It's about a family who gets stranded in a flooded house during the monsoons, and they are waiting for a funeral, carry out a funeral, because one of the family members has died. Now, unless the water subsides, flood subsides, they can't do the funeral because they have to dig the grave, and so it's about a family like that. So we planned to shoot during the monsoons because we wanted real floods. We didn't get them, fortunately, so we created the entire flood around the house, and it was difficult for everybody, from the actors to the light boys. Standing in water all day and shooting was not easy, and many felt sick during the shoot, and it was also a very physically demanding shoot because we had to carry board from one part of the river to another, like literally carry it. So everybody, including my DP to my production controller, everybody were like completely covered in mud, in the water, doing these things. And we were all standing in the water, and it was a sync sound project, and it rains for the most of the part of the film. So it was a lot tricky to shoot it because every room we shoot, we had to build a false roof. So we had to keep shifting the roof to shoot a scene in a particular room. And even when we went back to shoot in the real floods, it was very tricky because the river had strong currents. My actors had to sit in a boat alone, with no life jacket, nothing, into the river, and many people have died there. So it was very tricky in that way, and risky also. But everybody was cooperative, and everybody did their best so that we could do the film. And even during the actual floods, to get there with the camera equipments and all that was really challenging. In 2005, when my grandfather died, we had to wait in the house with his body. So that actually inspired me to make this film later when I went to film school and came out of the film school in 2016. I wanted to make a film based on that. So that is how it started. And I come from a family which is very closely knit, like many Kerala families or Indian families. But at the same time, you do not have the kind of transparency maybe you have with your parents in countries like the US, because we have to hide a lot of things from parents and vice versa as well. So I was interested in this concept. So while the premise is about a family waiting for a funeral, I want to explore family relationships and the dynamics within that, and secrets and lies within a family. So those part of the stories were inspired from things that loosely happened in my family and which I've heard. So it's all taken from real life. And then I started writing in 2016. I went to NFDC's Screenwriters Lab in 2017 with the same project. And then I went to co-production market, Film Bazaar co-production market in 2018. That in 2018 I won Sinistan script contest, which is like the largest script contest in India. Amir Khan, Anjum Rajabali, Raju Hirani, they're like big names in Indian film industry. So they were the jury members. They awarded the script the best prize, and that's opened the doors for me for the production. And Ronnie Screwvala, who's a big producer in India, he has produced films like Jodha Akbar, Reng De Basandi, and Chennai Express. So he came on board along with Hani Itran and Abhishek Chaubey. And then the COVID happened. So then I came for the Film Independent Global Media Makers program, where also they mentored me on the script, and so it was a long writing process, and finally got to shoot the film in 2022. So it's been a long process also because the film is about two female leads, like two female characters, and the relationship between them. So it is tricky to explore that, their psyche, and the entire story happens on the backdrop of grief because somebody has died. So it's not just emotions about a particular situation. Everything has to be filtered through the angle of grief, which in itself is tricky. and then it's about woman 150-year-old. So it's not the characters that I know really of. I mean, I know them, like I've seen them within my family, so I based these people on the people I've met in my family. But to understand them was very tricky because it's a story about ordinary people but caught in extraordinary circumstances. So how would they react to a particular circumstance? What would their emotional truth be at each of these given instant was tricky to kind of figure out. It took a long time, but yeah. So the casting also similarly took long time because when I first narrated the project to Parvati, who plays one of the leads, she's a big actress in Kerala. She kind of found the film very intense, and she passed on the film. And then I moved on, but the film didn't happen for many reasons, including the COVID. We were about to shoot the film. 10 days before the shoot, the project got cancelled. And then again, I went back to Parvati. Me and my producer went back to Parvati and said that, hey, the script has changed a bit. Would you want to give it another read? So she read half, and then she called me and I narrated, give a narration of the other half, and immediately within a day or two, she came on board. So that is how Parvati worked. And another important lead of my film is Urvashi. She's a veteran actress. I mean, we grew up watching her in the 90s. She's a very big time actress in South India. So she also found the story a bit intense, but I always kept in touch with her. And finally, when things worked out with Parvati, I went back to her because Parvati also was very excited. It's somebody like Urvashi doing the other character, because although they have been in the industry for like long time, they have never done a film together. So then it's always about managing the dates, and I was able to get them both on board. Yeah, and like if you see the film, you'll understand that they are irreplaceable. Yeah, and a lot of people are also talking about the performance once it was released. They said that although Urvashi has been in the industry for 40 years, this film is like reintroducing Urvashi. So yeah, I'm happy to hear that. So yeah. It was a difficult shoot because of the water, because of the limited. I mean, we shot for 50 days, but still it was, the time was limited, and things like that. And there was many stressful days. Things would go wrong, on most days regarding the flood and all those things. But I remember, and there were scenes where, when actors played out a scene, I saw magic happening on screen. It would be a simple scene and just people just playing it out brings life into it, and I was like, wow, I mean, this is so much more powerful than I had imagined it to be. So there are moments like that, but one thing that really will stay with me is the climax scene of the film, because both the actors also in a way, they how would I say that, like for example, Parvati is playing a character called Anju. So Parvati has that POV of Anju in her life as well. So she brings that to that character. Urvashi is playing the mother-in-law. So she also embodies that character. She has a Leelama in her. So both of these people were, coming from that space where they were kind of leaving those characters because they come with that certain kind of POV. And in the climax scene, both had a different take on the climax. So there were a lot of discussions. There are a lot of arguments about how the climax has to be. It was one. You see in the film, it's just one shot, but there was a lot of discussions, and we are on a tight schedule. And Parvati's parents were sick, and the shot happens in the middle of the river, and it has to rain, and we didn't have the equipments to kind of create rain over that complete large landscape, because the rain machines would be on the other side of the river and they won't be able to fill the river. So a lot of things happened, and the day before the shoot I cancelled the rain machines because I thought it was not possible and I don't want to waste the money. But I got up in the morning and I looked in the mirror and I was like, fuck, what I have done, because all these 8 years that final shot image was, it is raining, and I just changed it like last night, and I was like, what I've done, and I just called the production manager and said like, I want the rain back, and they're like, they have already gone now, it's not possible to get back. So they called some people, but not enough to create the rain, and the actors are going into the boat. We are trying to we had difficulty placing the camera in the boat, and the actors had a completely different, there is friction in the air, they had a completely different take on the climax. And then we went on the boat, and then we just said action, and they just did it, and it was perfect. So I feel like sometimes, a lot of, I enter each scene as a director to see what they bring to the table, So in a scene like that where there was so much friction, when I said action, they just did both what they had to do, and I didn't have to change one thing. So I saw that happening, and I was like, okay, this is magic, and both of them were living those characters. And in the final shot, when we were going to take the shot, it was completely sunny. We wanted rain, and I was like, it was looking very bad because in the river, the light will get reflected, and it was looking burnout. And suddenly the clouds came in, and it was going to rain, and we said, just take the shot, and this is when, and we took the shot, and it actually rained, and then actually opened the umbrella. I didn't even tell them it was in the script, but I forgot to tell them because they were on the boat and I couldn't communicate with them. So there in the film, you will see them holding the umbrella, but it is a reaction to the real rain. But you see it in the drone shot, the real rain, and the drone guy is telling me, I have to bring it down or the drone will go. You have to pay me 2 lakhs rupees for the drone. So all those things happen. But finally, when you see the film, you see that, So I feel like you have to believe that one of the actors, when I was very tense during the shoot, said that, so you know that, right? Like finally everything will fall into place. Finally everything will be for the good. So I think that is one of the biggest takeaways, that like one has to believe that how much ever things go wrong, finally everything is going to be good. Yeah. So I have already done a Netflix true crime docu called Curry and Cyanide, the Jolly Joseph case, which did really well. It was global number 2 in the second week of all non-English films in the entire world. It was streaming. It was trending in 30 plus countries for over 3 weeks. It was the 10th most viewed film when you look at the numbers after 3 weeks Netflix India has ever produced. So that is one thing that I'm really proud of. So that released December last year, and right now I'm working on I'm show running and directing a show. So it's in early stages of development, and a lot of discussions are happening for new film projects. I want to do something that is completely different, something that is much more commercial, massier, maybe action or thriller or comedy, but something completely different. So yeah.